When the Vikings first reached North America, when Rome had already fallen into memory, when much of medieval Europe was still consolidating kingdom, a superpower was rising in the heart of Africa, not for a century, not for two, but for 1,000 years. This was Kanem-Bornu, an empire of cavalry and scholars, of desert diplomacy and written chronicles, of political engineering and environmental mastery. It did not conquer the sand, it ruled it. A welcome to the story of one of the longest lasting states in world history. Kanem emerged around the 8th century east of Lake Chad. Arab geographer Ali Yaqoubi wrote of Kanem in 1872 CE. That written chronicle is over 1,000 years old. And internally, the empire kept its royal chronicle, the Gilgal. This royal chronicle survived for centuries. And when the German explorer Henrik Bath found it in 1851, it confirmed what the empire had always known, that is, its own history. This was not myth, this was recorded statecraft. The early Duguwa dynasty ruled first. Later, around the 11th century, the Sayfawa dynasty emerged. A continuity was not accidental, it was engineered. Islam was adopted under Mai in the 11th century, linking Kanem to the trans-Saharan diplomatic and commercial networks. This stretches from North Africa into the Sahel. Salt, textile, horses moved south. Gold, ivory, and captives moved north. But Kanem did not merely participate in the trade. It controlled the trade route. This was the beginning of what we call the rule of sand. Kanem-Bornu was not chaos held together by force. It was institutional. The Mai ruled, but not alone. His authority was balanced by the Council of 12, that is, the powerful regional leaders representing key territories of the empire. By binding elite into governance, the council reduced rebellion and preserved cohesion across vast distances. Women held formal political roles. The Majora, the queen mother, influenced succession. The Gumsu managed palace administration and internal state affairs, while part of medieval Europe were debating whether women could hold property. Kanem-Bornu integrated them into governance. Power here was layered, structured, and deliberate. And if stories like these, carefully researched and often overlooked, deserve a wider audience, consider subscribing to HeritageNaija Official. Because history does not disappear, it awaits to be rediscovered. In the late 16th century, Kanem-Bornu reached a new height under Mai Idris Alooma. This between 1571 to 1603. He reformed taxation, strengthened cavalry, beat rebat, that is frontier fortification, and standardized administration. In 1576, a diplomatic mission from Bornu reached the Ottoman court in Istanbul. This was not isolation. This was international statecraft. Bornu was recognized, respected, and integrated into a wider Islamic world. For over 1,000 years, it endures. A few states in world history can say the same. By early 19th century, a Fulani reform movement destabilized the region. The old Sayfawa authority weakened, but Kanem-Bornu did not immediately collapse. Prior to this, In the late 14th century, the Bulala Wars forced the Sayfawa from Kanem. Most dynasties collapsed when displaced. The Sayfawa did not. Rather, they relocated west. In 1472 CE, Mai Idris Alooma founded Birni in Gezagam. The state moved, but the system endured. That is the difference between a kingdom and a civilization. Instead of collapsing, it adapted. And here we encounter one of the most sophisticated political transitions in African history. From roughly 1814 to 1846, Bornu operated under a dual power structure. On one hand stood the Sayfawa Mai, heirs to a dynasty that had ruled since around 700 CE. They retained dynastic legitimacy, ritual sovereignty, and symbolic continuity. Yes, they embodied the sacred lineage of the state, but their military power had diminished. On the other hand stood Muhammad al-Hamid al-Kanemi, a scholar, a strategist, and statesman. He commanded the army, controlled diplomacy, and directed fiscal policy. While the Mai held the sacred lineage, al-Kanemi held the executive authority. This we can say symbol and strategy, tradition and power. This was not chaos, but a deliberate survival structure. This is also a negotiated balance designed to preserve continuity while responding to crisis. Few medieval or early modern states engineered such a transition so consciously. In 1893, Rabbi Az-Zubair conquered Bornu. In 1900, the French colonial forces defeated Rabbi at Qusair. The empire's sovereignty ended, and its borders were redrawn. So its authority were absorbed into colonial administration after more than a millennium. Empires fall, that is not unusual. What is unusual is how easily some are forgotten. Kanem-Bornu ruled for 1,000 years. It engineered continuity, balanced power, mastered the environment, and connected continents. Though it practiced the rule of sand. The empire is gone, but its history remains, and now you know. The question is not only how it fell, rather, the question is why you were not taught that it stood for so long. If memories matters, and if historical dignity matters, then do not let the story fade again. Share it, discuss it, question it, research it further, because history survived only when it is remembered. This is HeritageNaija Official, and many more chapters are still waiting to be told.